Good Monday. This is Jay Brew, co-chairman of Seafried and Brew. Well, go into the New York Times, put in a search for recession, and what will come up is an article, How the Recession Reshaped the Economy in 255 Charts. And these are fascinating pieces that the New York Times are putting together for their readers, which are more interactive, so that one can spend quite a bit of time going through this in terms of how they're looking at the recession, in terms of jobs that have recovered from the recession, jobs that haven't recovered from the recession, and jobs that actually have grown in here. So one of the things that is interesting when you look at the growth pattern versus the orange and red in terms of declines and non-recovery type of situations is that one of the things that you'll see in here is that nail salons have actually grown dramatically in here. A change in the way that people do things. When you look at then going into each one of these sectors is that you'll be able to see current jobs, average salaries for each one of these as you point to them. But then you can look at it from the standpoint of different services and the medical economy, for instance, having grown since the recession. If you look at it from the standpoint of the long housing bust, is that this is interesting because you can look at architectural services, for instance, has not recovered. That in March 2009, there were 185,800 with an average salary of 74,719, and you can see that it has declined. When you look at it from the standpoint of land subdivision, for instance, is that once again that has been declining in terms of overall employment. You look at real estate escrow listings, that really has been the only thing that has grown in terms of the housing sector. And so you can look at it from the standpoint of the black gold rush in terms of support for oil and gas operations, oil and gas pipeline construction, and oil and gas extraction, as well as pipeline transportation. Once again, this has been one of the major pieces that we've talked about in past webcasts, that our nation has the ability to make us energy independent, and these numbers are showing that it's growing exponentially. And as you look into other sectors, you explore into, say, like the digital revolution in terms of electronic shopping and auctions. Look at how that has grown. But interestingly enough, video and photography services have actually not recovered. Printing and related businesses, once again with newspaper publishers, book publishers, periodical publishers, radio, television, broadcasting, none of these have actually recovered. Bookstores and news dealers, once again, you can say it's part of the digital revolution. But what may have happened is that the recession was the last nail in the coffin for the print industry. And explore this as well as they have other ones. For instance, with the drought in the West, is that they have a whole thing on the history of droughts. They have a history in terms of baseball franchises in the United States. Once again, using the ability of data to tell a visual story in terms of how our economy is changing, how other things in terms of lower wages to higher wages by industry. And I think you'll find this a fascinating place to spend a little time to look at how our economy is changing. This is Jay Brew, co-chairman of Seafried and Brew. Have a great week.